You got rejected. Good. I know that sounds insane. You're sitting there right now, maybe fresh off a failure. Maybe you didn't get the job. Maybe your business idea crashed and burned. Maybe the person you loved walked away. Maybe you poured your heart into something and the world said no. And I'm telling you, good. Because 2,000 years ago, a Roman emperor named Marcus Aurelius wrote something that will change how you see every rejection, every failure, every obstacle for the rest of your life. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Read that again. What stands in the way becomes the way. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you how the ancient Stoics transformed rejection into rocket fuel, how failure became their teacher, how the worst moments of their lives became the best things that ever happened to them, and how you can do the exact same thing starting today. This isn't just philosophy. This is practical, battle-tested wisdom that's created billionaires, world champions, and legends. Because here's the truth. Every single person you admire has been rejected more times than you can count. The difference, they knew something you're about to learn about a woman who was as close to rock bottom as you can get without being homeless. She was a single mother on welfare, divorced, jobless, depressed to the point where she seriously considered suicide. She described herself as the biggest failure I knew. Her name was Joanne Rowling. You might know her as J.K. Rowling. In 1990, she had an idea for a story about a boy wizard on a train from Manchester to London. She was too shy to ask anyone for a pen, so she let it ferment in her imagination for 4 hours. When she got home, she started writing. Then her mother died. Rowling stopped writing, fell into deep depression. Eventually, she moved to Portugal, got married, had a daughter, and within a year, her marriage imploded. She came back to Scotland with her infant daughter Jessica, living in a tiny apartment, skipping meals to make sure her baby ate. She would write in cafes while Jessica slept in a pram because she couldn't afford to heat her apartment. Now, let me tell you about a 15-year-old kid who tried out for his high school varsity basketball team. He was 5'10", skinny, couldn't make a layup and chew gum at the same time. His own words. There were 50 kids trying out for 15 spots. When the coach posted the roster, this kid's name wasn't on it. His close friend made the team. He didn't. He went home and locked himself in his room and cried. He told his mother he was devastated. He said, "I didn't want to play any more sports. I felt like the coach didn't like me." His mother looked at him and said something simple but powerful. "If you really want it, you work hard over the summer." That summer, the basketball never left his hand. He practiced all day, every day. When he got tired and wanted to quit, he'd close his eyes and see that roster without his name on it, and he'd keep going. That kid's name was Michael Jordan. The same coach who cut him later became his head coach. Jordan went on to become the greatest basketball player of all time. 6 NBA championships, 5 MVP awards. A legend whose name is synonymous with excellence. Years later, when they unveiled Jordan's statue at the United Center, guess who he invited? That high school coach. And in front of 20,000 people, Jordan thanked him. Then he reminded everyone that this coach was the first guy to cut me on a team. But here's what Jordan understood that most people don't. That rejection wasn't the end of his story, it was the beginning. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who started life as a slave, wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Jordan's reaction to rejection? Turn it into fuel. Let it burn inside him. Use it to prove everyone wrong. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The obstacle is the way." He didn't mean the obstacle eventually leads to the way. He meant the obstacle itself becomes the way. That rejection? That's not blocking your path, that is your path. 5 years after that train ride, she finished the manuscript. She typed it on an old manual typewriter. She was so poor she couldn't afford to photocopy it, so she typed out multiple versions by hand. Then she started sending it to publishers. The first one said no, the second one said no, the third, fourth, fifth, all said no. 12 publishers rejected Harry Potter. 12. Publishers told her to get a day job. They suggested she change her name because female authors don't sell to young boys. They said children's books about magic don't sell. They said it was too long, not marketable, not good enough. After the 12th rejection, Rowling started losing confidence. She began to wonder if everyone was right. Maybe she was delusional. Maybe she should give up. But she didn't. Finally, a small publishing house called Bloomsbury agreed to read it. The editor's 8-year-old daughter read the first 3 chapters and begged to read the whole thing. That's what made them say yes. A tiny publishing house taking a chance on a nobody. They still warned her, "You won't make money from children's books. Get a day job." Today, the Harry Potter brand is worth over $15 billion. J.K. Rowling became the first author billionaire in history. Her books have sold over 500 million copies. They've been translated into 73 languages. But here's what matters. Rowling herself said this about her failures. Failure meant a stripping away of the inessential. I stopped pretending to myself that I was anything other than what I was, and began to direct all my energy into finishing the only work that mattered to me. This is pure Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius would be proud. Rowling looked at her rejections and said, "These aren't stopping me, these are teaching me." Every no was redirecting her towards the yes that would change everything. The Stoics called this amor fati, the love of fate. Not just accepting what happens to you, but loving it, because without those 12 rejections, without hitting rock bottom, without the pain, she wouldn't have had the fire to keep going. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, said it perfectly. Difficulties strengthen the mind, what actually happens in your brain when you face rejection. Because the Stoics understood something about human nature that neuroscience is only now confirming. When you get rejected, your brain processes it the same way it processes physical pain. Researchers at UCLA found that social rejection activates the same regions of the brain as physical injury. That's why rejection hurts. It's not just in your head, it's literally neurological pain. But here's what the Stoics figured out 2,000 years ago. You can choose how you interpret that pain. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." This isn't toxic positivity. This isn't pretending the pain doesn't exist. This is understanding that meaning is something you assign, not something that happens to you. Let me break this down. When something bad happens, there are 3 layers. Layer 1 is the event. You got rejected. That's a fact. It happened. Layer 2 is your interpretation. This is where most people get stuck. They think, I got rejected because I'm not good enough. I'm a failure. I'll never succeed. Layer 3 is your response. Based on your interpretation, you either quit or you keep going. The Stoics realized something profound. You can't control layer 1. Events happen, but you have complete control over layers 2 and 3. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Think about that. How much of your suffering comes from the actual rejection versus the story you tell yourself about the rejection? J.K. Rowling could have told herself, 12 publishers rejected me because my book is terrible. Instead, she told herself, 12 publishers rejected me because they don't understand what I'm building yet. Michael Jordan could have told himself, the coach cut me because I'm not talented. Instead, he told himself, the coach cut me, so I need to work harder than everyone else. Same events, different interpretations, different outcomes. This is the power of Stoic philosophy. You become unshakable, not by avoiding rejection, but by changing how you see rejection. Alright, so you understand the philosophy, but how do you actually do this? How do you handle rejection and failure like a Stoic in real life? Here are the 5 Stoic strategies that will change everything. Strategy 1. Separate the event from your identity. When something fails, you didn't fail. The project failed. The attempt failed. But you are not a failure. Epictetus taught his students to distinguish between what's in their control and what's not. You can control your effort, your attitude, your persistence. You can't control whether a publisher says yes, whether a coach picks you, whether someone loves you back. When you get rejected, ask yourself, did I do my best with what was in my control? If yes, then you succeeded. The outcome isn't up to you. J.K. Rowling didn't fail 12 times. She succeeded 12 times at getting her manuscript in front of publishers. The fact that they said no, that was their decision, not her failure. Strategy 2. Ask, what is this teaching me? Marcus Aurelius wrote, the impediment to action advances action. Every rejection contains a lesson. Maybe you need to improve your skills. Maybe you're pitching to the wrong people. Maybe your timing is off. Maybe you need to develop more resilience. When Michael Jordan got cut, the lesson was clear. He needed to get better, so he did. When Rowling got rejected, the lesson wasn't give up. It was keep looking for the right publisher. After every rejection, sit down and ask, what can I learn from this? Write it down. Be honest. Extract the lesson. Then apply it. Strategy 3. Practice negative visualization. This is a core Stoic practice called premeditatio malorum, visualizing the worst that could happen. The Stoics believed that by imagining failure in advance, you rob it of its power to surprise and devastate you. Before your next big pitch, interview, or launch, spend 10 minutes visualizing it failing. Really picture it. They say no. You get rejected. It doesn't work out. Now ask yourself, if that happens, what will I do? Usually you realize, I'll be disappointed. I'll be upset, but I'll survive. I'll try again. This practice removes the fear of rejection because you've already confronted it in your mind. Seneca practiced this constantly. He would imagine losing his wealth, his status, his friends. Not to be pessimistic, to be prepared. When rejection comes, and it will, you won't be blindsided. You'll think, I knew this might happen. I'm ready. Strategy 4. Reframe rejection as redirection. The Stoics believed in something they called logos, the rational order of the universe. They believe that everything happens for a reason, even if we can't see it yet. You don't have to believe in fate to use this principle. Just consider, what if this rejection is protecting you from something worse? What if it's redirecting you towards something better? Rowling said, rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life. Think about it. If a publisher had said yes to her first try, she might have gotten a terrible deal. She might not have refined her manuscript as much. The book might have flopped, and she might have given up on writing forever. Those 12 rejections were building her resilience. They were testing her commitment. They were ensuring that when success came, she was ready for it. When you face rejection, ask yourself, what might this be protecting me from? What might it be redirecting me towards? You might not know the answer now, but years later you'll look back and think, thank God that didn't work out. Strategy 5. Count your rejections like wins. This is the most counterintuitive strategy, but it's incredibly powerful. The Stoics believed in loving obstacles, not just accepting them, loving them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. Start keeping track of your rejections. Literally, write them down, celebrate them. Why? Because rejections mean you're trying, you're putting yourself out there, you're taking shots. Someone who never gets rejected is someone who never risks anything. They're playing it safe, they're hiding. But you're in the arena, you're fighting, and every rejection is proof that you're alive, you're trying, you're growing. Stephen King's first novel, Carrie, was rejected 30 times. He threw the manuscript in the trash. His wife pulled it out and told him to keep trying. It went on to sell millions of copies and launch his career. 30 rejections weren't failures. They were steps on the path to success. Start thinking of rejections this way. I got rejected 10 times this month. That means I'm closer to a yes. Because mathematically, that's true. Every no
talk
gets
about
you
the
closer
real
to
enemy.
yes. Because it's not rejection itself that destroys people. It's what comes after rejection. It's the voice in your head that says, "See, I told you that you weren't good enough." It's the shame, the embarrassment, the fear of what other people think. Marcus Aurelius dealt with this constantly. He was the emperor of Rome. Every decision he made was judged by millions of people. He wrote in his journal, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Read that again. We care more about other people's opinions than our own. This is the disease, and the Stoics had the cure. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." You're going to be judged. You're going to be criticized. People are going to doubt you, mock you, tell you that you're wasting your time. The Stoics said, "So what?" Seneca wrote, "It does not matter how many people agree with you. The truth is still the truth." When Rowling was rejected, publishers thought she was foolish for continuing. When Jordan got cut, people probably thought he should focus on something else. When Marcus Aurelius made unpopular decisions, half of Rome criticized him. They all kept going anyway. Because here's the secret. The people who criticize you, who judge you, who celebrate your failures, they're not thinking about you as much as you think they are. They're worried about their own lives, their own failures, their own insecurities. Your rejection is probably the most interesting thing that happened to you today. But to them, they'll forget about it by tomorrow. So why are you giving them so much power? The Stoic approach is simple. Do your best, act with integrity, pursue what matters to you, and let other people think whatever they want. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Let me tell you what's going to happen in your life. You're going to try something important, something that matters to you, something you've dreamed about, and you're going to fail, maybe more than once, maybe many times. And when that happens, you'll have a choice. You can let that failure define you. You can believe the story that you're not good enough, that you'll never make it, that you should give up. Or you can do what the Stoics did, what Rowling did, what Jordan did, what every successful person in history has done. You can look at that failure and say, "This is data. This is feedback. This is the universe testing me to see if I really want this." You can ask, "What is this teaching me? How can I improve? What do I need to do differently?" You can separate the event from your identity. You can reframe rejection as redirection. You can count your failures like wins. Because here's what the Stoics understood. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. Every master was once a disaster. Every expert was once a beginner. Every legend faced rejection that would have destroyed most people. The difference? They kept going. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in the world while dealing with constant criticism, betrayal, and setbacks. His response? The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That obstacle in front of you, that rejection that's crushing you right now, that's not your enemy. That's your teacher. That's the thing that's going to make you better, stronger, wiser, more resilient than you ever thought possible. So here's your challenge. The next time you face rejection, and you will, don't run from it. Don't hide from it. Don't let it convince you that you're not good enough. Look it in the eye and say, "Thank you. What are you here to teach me?" Because the obstacle is the way. Always has been, always will be. J.K. Rowling went from welfare to billionaire because of 12 rejections, not in spite of them. Michael Jordan became the greatest of all time because a coach cut him, not in spite of being cut. Your rejections aren't destroying your path. They are your path. Now go get rejected. Go fail. Go fall down 7 times and get up 8. Because that's what Stoics do. That's what legends do. That's what you are going to do. The obstacle is the way. Remember that, and never forget it.